Hey, it's Jamie, and today we're rehashing Jeremiah 36 to 38. So, King Joachim is ruling over Judah in today's passages, and the Lord tells Jeremiah to get Baruch the scribe and get him to write down every message the Lord has ever given Jeremiah in order to read it back to the people. God thinks that if his people hear all the terrible things he's got planned for them, they'll repent, he can forgive them, and everyone can just start over all happy. There's that word again, though, repent. So we know what the Lord expects of his people here, right? So of course Jeremiah agrees. He is the prophet after all, and he sends Baruch to the temple with the scroll he had written everything on, and he reads it. Someone tells the officials at the palace, like the admin staff or whatever, so they call for Baruch to read the scroll to them. The officials are terrified when Baruch stops reading, so they take the scroll for safekeeping, deciding that they have to tell the king immediately. And they tell Baruch that he and Jeremiah should hide for a little while and kind of get out of town and don't tell anyone where they're hiding. So here's where this king completely disconnects from the Lord. Although the staff that brought the scroll begged him not to, the king burned the scroll after it was read to him. Then he tells his kid to go find Baruch and Jeremiah and arrest them both. This is the king of Judah. He knows what the Lord's capable of, and yet he goes against him anyway. But don't we all do that, really? Like at least once a week? This was a big one for this king, but don't we all do that? We go against him anyway. We know he doesn't want us to do something. We do it anyway. We know what we're about to do is the wrong thing to do, and we know how good life is when we don't do that. We know what he's capable of. We're living proof of it, and yet, we always do it anyway. How ridiculously human of us, eh? Of course, the Lord curses this guy to death today, and he curses him with no heir to take over the throne. Like, what did you think was going to happen, bud? And then Jeremiah gets Baruch to write another scroll, but this time he includes the curses against King Joachim. I find today's chapters bounce from time to time a little willy-nilly a bit, so maybe you also struggled to follow along, but at some point before the fall of Jerusalem, 2 kings after Joachim, 3 friends, I guess, of King Zedekiah, go to him and tell him that Jeremiah has been preaching doom and gloom all over the place and Jeremiah must die. It's affecting the men, they say, currently fighting. It's affecting them. And the people, they're getting super weird about what Jeremiah is saying. But big old Z, he says, do whatever you want, guys. So they lower Jeremiah into a cistern well that was empty except mud, leaving him either to sink or to die of hunger. So then, this super important court official named Ebed-Melech, he sees this and he runs to the king begging him to save Jeremiah. And the king flip-flops kind of, and then he orders him to be saved and returned to prison, where he would actually stay until the fall of Jerusalem. They would lock Jeremiah up. Anyway, then one day the king sends for Jeremiah and he says, give me the truth, nerd. And Jeremiah's like, okay, but you're going to kill me and you won't heed any of my warnings, so what's the point? But King Z, he wasn't playing, man. So Jeremiah gave him the haps. He told him to surrender to Babylon like the Lord commands, or there is going to be all kinds of bad stuff headed their way. So the king then swears Jeremiah to secrecy, like who's he going to tell in prison? Then he tells Jeremiah to lie to anyone who asks what they talked about, and Jeremiah does. The end. Now, I know there'll be meaning down the road for this, but for me today, it was just like a little subplot going on before everything goes to HE double hockey sticks. If you read today's assignment, please give me your take on that story, if you don't mind, because I didn't kind of get the significance yet, but I feel like we're going to get it soon. God doesn't whisper his word for no reason. You know what I'm saying? But it was just a kind of like a weird little side story. Okay, so tomorrow we're digging into Jeremiah 39 to 41 if you want to read ahead. I hope you have a blessed day. Please comment, like, and share this video in order to spread the good word around the YouTube verse. And don't forget to say your prayers.
This is the Bible in a Year theme song.